I'd like to call this meeting to order, please. I would be remiss if I don't start the meeting off with, to say that Dr. McGee, Ms. Dorsey, I know her as twin, Coach, Mr. Tillman, and of course myself. And if I'm missing anybody, I apologize up front, because you never should name folks if you don't know who else is in the room. But I must say that I kind of did something that Jackson State did, and as I was leaving the bathroom, I saw a can of hairspray, and I sprayed and I forgot I had hair. I didn't have hair on my head, and J State lost the same way. They forget it's 4 quarters in a game instead of 3. But we appreciate you all very much for what you did. Because we appreciate you losing. See that? She's always after me. But thank you so much for your loss, because we are the 6-time champs. With that, Pastor, would you please come up and give Jackson State a prayer?
Okay. All right. I just want to say I'm bivocational. I pastor Vicksburg, but I'm also the recruitment coordinator at Hines Community College. And I just want to say I'm just proud to be a product of Vicksburg 1 School District. I can't say that enough to you. To the board, that the board is just some phenomenal people. If I could just call a couple people before I pray, Coach Stevens has always just been like a father to me. And Mr. Seeley, I'm telling you right now, you have the best superintendent in the state of Mississippi, and I'm just proud to say that I'm a product of Vicksburg 1 District as well as schools. And I can truly say this as I go to both schools, Vicksburg and Warren Central, just phenomenal principals, Dr. Davis and Mr. Green. So just keep what you're doing here at Vicksburg. You're doing an outstanding job, and I'm just again proud to be a product. And just even this weekend, I was telling Mr. Hobson going down to the USM game, and his brother is a product of Vicksburg 1 School District. So it's just good to know people that have done well. So keep doing what you're doing. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Father, we just thank you for tonight. We thank you for who you are, and you're just such an awesome God. And we just come before your presence just to say thank you for this day, Lord, that you've made, and we can rejoice and be glad in it. And then your word invites us to the attention of Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, where it says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not to thine own understanding, and all thy ways acknowledge you, and you'll direct thy path. Lord, it's certainly that your will for our lives can be either unconditional or conditional. Unconditional in that things you do that we have no control over, it just happens. And then conditional, Lord, in that things we must do in order for it to happen. Lord, it's certain that the Vicksburg 1 School District, the board superintendent, the administrators, faculty, staff, and certainly students have done their part to get this school year off to a successful year. And Lord, we just ask your guidance over them as they continue to go through the school year. Lord, again, we thank you for Jesus Christ, who is an awesome Savior, and we just lift up his name because he's worthy to be praised. We thank you for all that you've done and all you will continue to do. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
Make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second. We moved and properly second that we adopt the agenda. Are there any questions? Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion so carried. Mr. Secretary?
Board members, you have before you the minutes for the regular scheduled board meeting of October 21st. Are there any additions or deletions to the minutes? Seeing as none, I make a motion to accept the regular scheduled board meeting for October 21st.
Second motion.
It's been moved and properly second. Are there any questions? Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion so carried. Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, sir. I'd like to begin my time off with a couple of acknowledgments. One of them will be for the board as a whole, and the other one will be for Board Member Alonzo Stevens. The Mississippi School Board Association has an annual conference every year, and for 4 years in a row prior to this one, the winner of the John L. Hartman Memorial Attendance Award for the board member who has the most training of any board member in the state of Mississippi has been Alonzo Stevens. And for the 5th year in a row, it was him again. So I'm going to ask him to step down front with the board president and take a photo. And then after that, I'd like the rest of the board who would like to come down, because I know Ms. Bullard doesn't like to do that, but if she wants to, I'd love her to be there. Come down and take a picture, because our entire board was recognized as a board of honor for their attendance also. So we have an additional plaque and a few down front. So if y'all join me, those of you that want to. Those of you that don't want to, don't have to.
Go down.
Yeah. Thank you, Sally. Mr. Perez. This is our new board member. I actually get to be in the board meeting with him.
Chin out.
Thanks.
I do like it. I like it too. All right. I also would like to recognize Dr. James. He hosted is Dr. James here? Oh, there you are. He hosted the town hall meeting this week, and Coach said you did an amazing job. Do whatever we can do to make you stay, and I told him I'd do that anyway. And usually I try to leave things off, but I really couldn't. All these things are acknowledgments of the work that's being done by this board and this community. We were asked to speak at the Mississippi Association of School Administrators Conference. We actually had several. We participated in our own, and we were in 2 other ones. And then we had one of the other superintendents from the coast that featured Vicksburg Warren School District. So a lot of people, a lot of sessions, got to hear a lot about what's happening here. In addition to that, the USDA Summit, which was around our surrounding area, they came to Vicksburg, Mississippi to have their second regional presentation, and we were the keynote speaker there too. So it was great to have our students were there, and we got to really tell our story to people all across our region. In addition to that, we're also invited to come and do a leadership workshop in West Virginia, and what the work of our district has been, I guess, highlighted in the West Virginia Executive Magazine. So they're sending us some copies, and Vicksburg Story is there. And then got to talk at the Mississippi School Board Association in their conference, and then we received some awards there. And one of the new business partners came and met with us, and an international paper came in, and they're very interested in an aggressive apprenticeship internship program, so that's real exciting for our students. And then those of you that were at the chamber luncheon, was that today or yesterday or the day before? They all run together. We got to tell our local folks the story of what's taking place, and I take great pleasure in that, because I'm telling you, it's remarkable what's taking place in a short period of time. From a bunch of people with big hearts and committed minds in this courageous school board, and it is a pleasure to continue to serve this community with my family here and to work for these fine folks here. So, and then yesterday, that was today, all of our principals graduated with National Institute of School Leadership certification. Which is a big deal. It's a nationally recognized research-based and evidence-based training program. So now they are licensed for that. So that was a big moment for us. A lot of work and a lot of strategic planning, and we're very thankful for the opportunity that the board provided us through that.
How many districts in the state have every principal?
2 that I'm aware of. Madison County and us are the only 2 that I'm aware of. Now,
2 people, 2.
That's true. But there's more that are coming, I guess. But you know. Joe Levaza retired, and even though I wasn't here, this is our new board member. Kimball Slayton joined us, and I told him he got sworn in with the better of the 2 superintendents anyway. Mr. Campbell filled in the role for me last week. So that's all I've got.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah, Jim, well,
That's all I say.
it's a first.
Mr. Bailey?
Okay. Jason and I will team hit. Let me do one comment before Jason gives you the updates, and then we have several bids to award. Reminder that just like last year, we are giving two $5,000 scholarships, one to each high school. And if you know of any students who need help getting to college, they need to go to their principals and apply for that, and we'll deal with that in the spring. Jason's going to give you an update, and then I'll deal with some bids.
Gotcha. You've got our monthly update in front of you, I believe. I'm not going to read from it for you. But I will tell you historically that November, December, January are extremely slow months construction-wise, especially where some of these projects are. But like in many things, you guys are an anomaly. And if you ride around this county, you will see that there's structural steel going up in places that normally you don't see structural steel going up. So there's a lot going on.
A lot.
We'll start with Vicksburg High School. If you drive by it, it looks like not a lot is going on. That's because there's block and brick up and everything's going on inside. So you've got your mechanical and electrical overhead, your in-wall rough ends, those things are going on. They're getting geared up. They are working on the inside some nights and weekends, but you will see that big push coming late winter, early spring. They are making a lot of momentum. Side note there, if you get the opportunity to go to that campus, check in with the job superintendent, or go see Dr. Davis, and you get to go into that new addition and look out one of those windows over the football field, it's incredible. It really is. I don't know if that was on purpose, Gary, but it looks great.
Yeah, it was on purpose.
Absolutely, it was. I don't know if it just happened to happen, but you know.
All the mistakes aren't, but that was it.
It is awesome.
And I'm gonna tell you and if you can't get in there, come to the opposite end of that same view and get on the other side of that baseball field and look back up there. I'm telling y'all, it is the most beautiful thing I've seen in a long time. Sit there and think that we hadn't, a Vicksburg Gator hadn't played on that baseball field since the mid-'80s, and now they're fixing to have their own field is quite an exciting day.
One more comment about the high school. Spring break next year, we will be moving in the new building at Vicksburg High School.
Awesome.
And that allows students in the upper area to move into them so we can continue to renovate those. In saying that, we will be dealing very quickly with furniture orders for the first building to be occupied for furniture. So we'll be coming back to you on some information there, but it's just as creative and cool as the buildings are.
Yes. Let me clear the air on Gary. It will not be used as a career academy full blown when you move in.
Right,
Because
every space will be used.
We've got to find somewhere to put kids when we work in the main building. So it's really exciting. If you go to that campus too, the gym lobby expansion is underway. You'll see the plumbing for the restrooms and the water is in place. They've got gray beams and footers they're getting ready to pour for the gym lobby expansion. So stepping right on down to athletics, the contract completion for Probity, that contractor, is December 2nd. It is coming up. Football field at both campuses is complete. Baseball, I was actually at Warren Central Baseball today walking it. It is down. He's got some punch list things to do. He's got to finish bullpen turf, but Coach Broom is chomping at the bit to get on that field.
Sure is.
And the same thing at softball. Again, they've got some cleanup to do, but the turf is down. So we're really excited about that. And again, that's both campuses. So moving on to Warren Central, the big additions and renovations. A lot of re-roofing going on. You will see block work going up on the outside of the building. We should complete exterior foundations hopefully first, second week of December. But that building is progressing very well. If you remember, they took a different approach from Thrash, and just like to remind you guys this every month. They start on the inside. So they're ahead on the inside versus Vicksburg's ahead on the new addition. So just their choice to work, and but Albritton and Thrash are both doing great jobs on the high schools. So if you will flip over, hopefully everyone saw when you drove in the Academy Innovation over here. It is going to be a cool building.
Boy, is that an understatement.
It is going to be it was on purpose.
I like that. Quick
Jason in here. Jason's got a camera. You can check some stuff out over there. I think he's been promoting it. When he does, the internet goes down. But it is, you can check some stuff out. It is a unique building. Century Construction's the contractor, and they are doing a great job. I'm not going to call them ahead of schedule yet, but they're there, and they are working hard. So site utilities are installed. You'll see structural steel going up, and as well foundations going on at the same time.
Let me add one. That steel that you see is 1/3 of the building.
That's what,
So
yeah,
they're-
Dave and I were
it's
recognizing
going
that today.
to exponentially grow.
I kept playing that video over and over as I was sitting there watching it.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
All right, Beechwood, again, that's, driving by it, you can't tell a whole lot is going on at Beechwood. The parking lot in the back is done. But Thrash is actually, they're making a lot of headway in that building, tearing out ceilings, new lights, and getting that building prepped and cleaned up. So they're gonna make a big push over Thanksgiving and Christmas, and hopefully get some of the rooms with a lot of stuff in it that they've been staying away. Hopefully they'll be able to get those knocked out, as well as the gym over Christmas. So Warren Central baseball lights, they are also ahead. So the pole bases are set. You will have lights on that campus in January of this year. So we'll be good there.
So we can finish the playoffs this year, right?
You can. You can win district there this year.
That'd be great.
Completed projects, the only ones we have right now that are truly substantially complete and signed off, Vicksburg Junior High re-roof in Beechwood. Hopefully we'll be adding athletics phase 1 next meeting. So moving on, design process, I'll hit this real quick because Gary's going to talk about bid recommendations. Athletic phase 2, those bid, Gary has those, we'll discuss that. The junior highs, we're going to advertise and bid December 17th, so hopefully right before your end of the year board meeting, we will have that on your agenda. Bomar, Gary and the team, they're still working on design issues and making sure that building is just right and paying a lot of attention to cost on Bomar. Same thing with Bovina. It is going to, Bovina at South Park, they're going to advertise and bid December 10th. So again, hopefully we will have that information to you at your next board meeting. And then lastly, you'll see there, item F, the intermediate Dana Road, Sherman Avenue, those road projects came in under budget, and Gary has those recommendations as well. So, any questions for us on updates? I know it's a lot, and this list is going to continue to grow probably over the next 18 months, which is a good thing. So, thank you for your time.
Let me see if I can thoroughly confuse you. On your agenda, you see paving at Vicksburg High School as a recommendation for award. Let me clarify what that is. This is a parking lot across the street from the football stadium that the district is doing themselves. They needed my help to put a stamp on it to be able to do it because of its size. So I donated that work to help the district get it done. So you got a recommendation in your packet to award to Central Asphalt for $172,287. These are not bond issue funds, they're separate district funds, but I helped them get through that point. After this, Shakita and Bill will take over that project if you choose to award it. That's my recommendation to you.
Do we need to have a motion?
I'd prefer just do them one at a time while we do it, if that's okay.
Let me say this, and then we can have the motion. And I probably need a police escort. But the young man that's doing it is my classmate or was my classmate, whichever way you want to say it. But my biggest problem is when we had kids, you send them to the Catholic school, but we have no other choice because he's the only bidder, so I'm gonna vote for him anyway. But I just had to say that. So with that, what is the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion that we award the contract to Central Asphalt of Vicksburg.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that the motion is approved. Are there any questions? Are you ready to vote? Ready. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved.
Okay, let's talk about the re-roofing projects first, if that's okay. You've got letters of recommendations and a bid tabulation. I'm going to talk from the bid tabulation, if that's okay, but we broke this up into separate bid packages to encourage competition, and it worked. We ended up with the same contractor low, which is fine. We want the low price no matter how we can get it. But these are for the mega schools, all 4 of them. So there's 2 schools in one contract, Dana Road and intermediates on one, and Sherman and intermediates on the other. And E. Cordell Malone is the low bidder for the combined packages, but we need to do them individually. So I just wanted you to know that we did bid them separately. There's an alternate in here that we're not recommending, and let me tell you why. We bid an alternate to see what it would cost to do night work on these roofs and not work during the daytime. And when you're dealing with a normal hot asphalt project, you like to do the work at night. Because we're doing overlay roofs on these with a TPO, which is a rubber type roof, we can work during the daytime and not hamper what's going on in school. So we're not recommending to pay extra to work at night because we can work during the daytime. So the recommendations are for the base bid on each of these. Each of them, contract A would be to Cornell Malone in the amount of $707,200, and contract B would be to Cornell Malone in the amount of $697,537. I might add that these are almost $1 million under budget. And Bill was very helpful in helping us go to the TPO system to try to save money because we need it in several places. But that's our recommendation.
So the bid needs to be one for Dana Road and one for Vicksburg.
They need to be separate
and
motions.
One for Sherman and one,
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
4 bids at,
It's
4
it's 4
motions.
roofs, 2 bids,
Yeah, 2 contracts.
Oh, you only need 2 contracts
Right.
out there, I'm sorry. I was thinking 4.
because they're tied together buildings, so we put them
Okay.
together as one contract.
I was just making sure I understood.
I'll make a motion.
Wait, before your motion, sir, may I ask Mr. Bailey something, please?
Sure,
Mr. Bailey, are the roofs leaking?
yes.
Are they flat roofs, or
No,
are they?
They have slope.
They have a slope, good.
Yep.
Okay, that's all I have.
And they're relatively smooth roofs. That's one of the reasons we went with the TPO. There's not a lot of equipment on those roofs, and it's easier to maintain a rubber roof without a lot of equipment. Most of the roofs are modified bitumen, which are much tougher, but when you've got equipment, you've got to have a tougher roof.
Is there, anyone have any other questions? Is there a motion?
Make a motion that we accept the recommended bid of $584 for Dana Road and Vicksburg Intermediate.
What was the exact amount, Mr. Bailey?
Let me read my own
$584,400.
recommendation. You are correct, $584,400 for contract A. Thank you.
There is a motion.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and properly second that the motion is approved. Are there any other questions? Are you ready to vote? Ready. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion so carries. Should have another motion.
Yeah, we have a
There's
motion
another
to
bid.
set the Sherman Avenue bid for Malone Corporation. I believe it is $574,000.
578,689. They had an edit on their own.
Added, okay, $578,689.
It's been moved and properly second that the motion is approved. Are there any questions? Are you ready to vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion so carried.
Okay, the other one's a little more complex and more entertaining. We just bid the phase 2 of the athletics, which will complete all of the athletics projects. And as you'll recall, that includes bleachers, concession stands, some field houses. It's everything else that needs to be done. 3 of the 4 lighting projects, you already have one under construction. Make the electronic scoreboards for both football and the new baseball at Vicksburg High School. So they're very complex. You know, we did this once and we were substantially over budget, so we revised those projects and rebid them. And we're still over budget.
Did it go down?
It went down, yeah, we saved $1.5 million from what we did last time. But we're still $4 million over budget. And as y'all know me, I'm not gonna come to you with just the problem, but the solutions of how do we solve it. The buildings are as simple as they're gonna get without compromising the integrity that y'all have asked for and what you told the community you were gonna get. I.e., we haven't touched the bleachers, we still got quality lights, you still have buildings that are safe and high quality, they're not luxurious, and your scoreboard is still bigger than Brandon. So that's something we couldn't compromise. So, but we're basically in rough numbers $4 million over budget, and I'll get to the specifics in a minute. Let me tell you how we're recommending with your administration to pay for that, because we've got to stay in budget. We don't have a choice in that. So what we're recommending is that we delay any discussion on the Grove Street project until the end of everything else, because we do not have an assigned function yet to go in that building. And that's right at $3.2 million budgeted. Not saying not do it, we just don't know what's going there yet, and that money's desperately needed right now. The other way we're solving it is at the 4 mega schools, there's some minor renovations planned to those for floors and painting. And they total right at $1 million. Those are things that can easily be done by your maintenance staff. via maintenance budget over the next couple of years, so we'll spread that out to avoid hurting any particular budget year. And that helps pay for the overage. So we reviewed that, had a work session with your administrative staff and maintenance staff, and that's how we're recommending pay for that overage without compromising the integrity of the athletics. We broke it up into separate projects, hoping to get better bids, and we did. We had 2 separate low bidders by separating it out. On the Vicksburg projects, which is contract A, we're recommending all alternates, and let me explain what the alternates are. We technically bid the lights as an alternate just for budget control if we chose to bid them separately. The lights actually were a good bid, so we're recommending to award it. We bid 3 other buildings, one at Vicksburg for softball and 2 others at Warren Central. These were and still are technically being managed by the school district, but we got them. We need to do them now. The bids were good enough that we're recommending doing it versus bidding them separately, because that did not work out well last time as well. So we're recommending base and all alternates is basically what I'm trying to explain. Paul Jackson and Son is low on contract A for all alternates at $6,895,000. And if you look at your recommendation, I need to note that there was an error on the letter of recommendation that Deb knows it's coming. The amount is $6,895,000, not $2,922,000. The bid tabulation is correct. The letter was what was wrong.
So did he type the letter, or did we type the letter?
Oh,
I'm just asking.
Someone who works for me typed the letter. Let's just leave it.
It's 6 million, how much?
$6,895,000.
Okay.
The contract B, which is Warren Central, the low bidder is Ergon Alliant. They go by both names, but those are a local contractor, and their low bid for everything is $5,105,500. $5,105,500. So that would be 2 separate motions, 2 separate contractors if you so choose to approve.
I have a question about lighting at both stadiums.
Yep.
Are you replacing the towers, replacing the lights?
Towers at Warren Central were keeping
Okay.
new lights. That's the reason they were cheaper than the
Okay.
others. At Vicksburg, they're coming out.
Had to do with the height.
Okay.
They were high enough.
They were plenty high. They're structurally stable.
Yeah.
Good.
Any questions?
Any other questions? Is there a motion?
Make the motion, we accept the Warren Central Athletic bid with all alternates for $5,105,500.
Second. That's for B. Contract B.
Correct.
Contract stands for Warren Central. There's a motion on the floor to be approved. Are you ready to vote? Oh, okay. The key, I'll make the second. Okay. It's been moved and properly second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved.
On the Vicksburg High, budget thing on, I was $6,895,000. I'd like to make a motion that we accept that.
There's a motion.
Paul Jackson.
To be approved. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been second. It's been moved and properly second to, whatever you just say, Vicksburg High School. Are you ready to vote?
Ready.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved.
Thank y'all. The contracts are being prepared. The pre-construction conference will be right after Thanksgiving. So Chad, you can wait till you get back to sign those. They weren't ready for this afternoon. Just to let y'all know, we take these cost issues very serious. We met with our entire staff on all of the current projects and remaining projects, which includes, Redwood and Warrenton as well, to review the scope, make sure we're doing what we said we were going to do, but not busting the budget. And we still have retainage in the overall budget of $1.7 million, so we're working very diligently, and obviously y'all are compromising to help make that budget work. But, we're on budget at this point.
So real quick, the plan for both athletics to be done by
They're
completion?
to be done by football season.
Okay, start of school.
There's
It's gonna be a
contractual
busy-
dates like
busy
August
spring.
2nd or something like that.
We'll keep you updated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. And it was, we had a little blip in the schedule today. We were able to drive around, and it's so exciting to see all this going on.
It's a lot going on. We've got a lot of folks paying attention to it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks,
This time, Ms. Burke.
Tuesday's my birthday.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay. Starting with the financial statements, the first one on the list is our bank reconciliation. What you have in front of you is accounts that's been reconciled as of September 30th. You'll notice that there are 3 that we have some reconciling differences that we're still researching, trying to understand where the issues are with those, and once those are reconciled, I will bring them back to the board and show that those have been completely fixed and fully reconciled. Moving to our statement of revenues and expenditures, I've included this as a way to show the board from month to month how we are performing against our fund balance. So if you look at the beginning balances where we started 2020, and then it shows your year-to-date expenditures and your year-to-date revenues, and it shows where we currently fall with our fund balance, or what they call fund equity. And you'll notice that some of them have a negative fund equity, and it's only because at this particular point in time, we have more expenditures than we have revenue. And I've mentioned before that we don't get the biggest part of our revenue until like February. So you'll see those in those smaller funds until we get the big part of our revenue in and start adjusting the revenue, and it starts trending higher than the expenditures. Okay.
I almost jumped in that seat, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, you can.
All right, and in relation to our statement of revenues and expenditures, I have a detailed ledger for our statement of revenues. It's expenditure detail and revenue detail. It basically shows you how we're trending compared to our budget. So if you look at the expenditure detail, it will show you for district maintenance, we have a year-to-date of $18 million worth of expenditures. And we're looking at, we've actually used 33.9% of our total budget for district maintenance. And if you come all the way down to the bottom, you'll see that our year-to-date expenditures across all of our funds for the district, we spent $41 million thus far. That includes our capital projects too. So, and that shows that we've spent 52.5% of our total budgeted expenditures for the year so far. And moving on to our statement of revenue, again, this is just a little bit more detail from the original statement of fund revenue and expenditures that I gave you in the summary. You'll notice that for district maintenance, we've collected $12.2 million of our overall revenue for district maintenance. And according to the percentage, we've collected 19.3% of our revenue for district maintenance. So again, if you look at the percentage of what we've collected, or what we spent in expenditures, and what we've collected for revenue, that's in line with where we normally fall around this time of year, simply because we don't get our biggest part of our revenue until the February-March time frame. And you'll actually start to see those trend closer to each other when we get into the January-February time frame. Right. All right, moving on to our ad valorem, statement of ad valorem. If you look to see for FY 2020, for month of October, we collected $303,000. And if you look at the chart, you'll see that we trended a little higher as far as what we collected thus far, and as well as year to date than we were last year. And it's possibly because we're actually asking for a little bit more than we asked for last year, simply because of the fall in our overall assessments. And you'll notice that on the sheet that has the numbers, at the bottom of that, you'll see that there's a highlighted yellow that shows 1.39. That is there to remind me, as well as the board, that we are looking to the impact of the reducing in assessments cost $1.4 million reduction impact to the district. And I have to keep that there to make sure we understand that we're gonna take a $1.4 million hit. Again, the overall effect for the district was 2.4, but because we had that $1 million in our fund balance that we grew from last year, it only affected us full year of 1.4. And I just keep that down there as a reminder.
So just, and I hate to interject, but I'm going to, just so this means something to everybody out in the community, understand that our budget from what was allocated from the Board of Supervisors is $2.4 million less than what we got that we needed to operate the budget. We reduced it $1 million already, we're gonna reduce it $1.4 million. So whatever's out and about the school district doing whatever, I just want everybody to understand that this board is adjusting based on the ad valorem decrease that we received. So just for the record.
And I have to say, thank you, Ms. Shealy, that we've been really conscious about watching our expenditures to make sure we're being good stewards. Even though we do take hits from time to time, whether it's from MDE or from the county supervisor or taxpayers, we take those in strides and we look at our budget to see where things are needed. And we really focus on the needs so that we can stay in line with what we have, resources we have. And
another thing I like to make sure that everybody understands is there's a recent report about all this frivolous money spent on administration. We are 2.6% administrative costs. We're one of the lowest administrative costs in the state of Mississippi. So we are a lean, mean fight machine up here, and that is not where our expenses roll. We do spend an ample amount of what our resources are allocated in our classrooms. In addition to that, we've got a lot of facilities that we have to spend some money on to make up from some deferred maintenance issues too. But it's not spent on administration. Just want to lay that to rest.
all right. Moving on to casino revenue. We did not receive any casino revenue for the month of October until November, so that's why you don't see it reflected in here. So we got it a little late. So you'll actually see it in the next month's report, and hopefully you'll see November's. We'll get November on time so that we can have November posted. But year to year, we've collected, for 2020, we've collected $103,000 compared to the $102,000 we've collected this time last year. So it's starting to trend a little higher. I'm hopeful that if things continue to trend in this manner, and we may actually make our $600,000 budget for casino revenue that we've been budgeting for the past few years.
Ms. Burke,
Yes, sir.
I just want to make sure I understand this. I'm looking at the casino revenue. I see 2019, but you're showing figures for 2020.
Yes, that is the fund.
So we on 2020 now?
Yes, sir. FY 2020.
Thank you.
Yeah, our fiscal year for 20 starts July of 19 and goes to June of 20.
Thank you.
Crazy.
I know, right?
All right, so MAP. Year to date October, we've collected $9 million of MAP, and compared to 8.9 that we've collected this time last year. To me, if you look at this chart, they're trending pretty steady across the last few years. Even the month to month is trending pretty steady. All right. Statement of cash flow. If you look at the statement of cash flow, it will show that we started the year with $22 million in our district maintenance fund with all the expenditures through August, September, and October. We now have an ending balance of cash of $16 million. And if you go back to the fund balance statement, you should be able to tie those two back to each other. That actually shows you the amount of money we have cash in the bank. And if you look at the little figure I have down at the bottom, the $7.5 million is the amount of money that we've determined that we need at any given time to cover all of our operations, whether it's anything that we're front loading for our federal programs or our district operations. So over the course of those months where we have light revenue coming in, we have to maintain on the average $7.5 million to cover our operations. And that is the baseline we've set for the district to make sure that we're always there. And if you would notice that $7.56 million that you see there, plus the $16 million that we have in the bank, basically says we have $8.5 million that we have in the bank over what we've assessed we need from month to month. All right?
When we first started this journey, we were borrowing money out of 16-section interest to be able to pay those months. So the commitment of the board has really been impressive over the last few years to fill those deficits.
That's all I have.
You have nothing else?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the financial aid,
Yeah.
the financial administrators. Going back to all of them.
I know, right?
Financial administrator, report as read.
There's a motion to accept the financial report. Is there a second?
Second.
We're moving properly. Second, that we accept the financial report. Are there any questions? Are you ready to vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is accepted. We're down to H now.
Yes, sir.
Proposed consent agenda. This time, do we have any items needs to be pulled?
This is H, I, and J, right? Or just H, H, I, and J?
Yes, sir. Are there any items to be pulled?
I'd like to pull H5, 10, and 12.
5, 10, and 12. Are there any others?
That's for I, was it I-1?
Yes, sir. There's an item. That's the personnel.
Right.
I-1.
Item.
I-1.
Yes, sir. I got H5, 10, and 12 now.
Do you have any others? Right now, I have H5, 10, 12, and I-1. No others? Is there a motion?
Make a motion, we accept the amended consent agenda with the exception of H5, 10, and 12, and I-1.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and proper second that we approve the amended agenda with the exception of 5, 10, 12, and I-1. Are you ready to vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. Ms. Fuller.
On 5, Dr. Ross.
Yes.
This is really, I think it's an awesome program. I'm so excited that we have something like Rainbow Farms in Vicksburg that can support our children. My only question, I saw that it's all paid for through SPED funding, so it's all paid through federal funding. But, and there's an application process that the children will have to go through in order to know exactly what they'll be able to participate in. And the final budget, most we are allowing to spend is going to be $15,000. Is that correct? I just think this is a great program. I commend you for bringing this to our children. I think this is a win for people who have children with disabilities, and I thank you for that. I would like to make a recommendation for H5.
Second.
Been moved and proper second that we approve H5. Are there any questions? Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. Ms. Bullard.
Yes, school recognition program, we all know I love this so much. I would like to thank the legislature for giving some guidelines to us to make this a positive program instead of pinning our teachers against each other. So I would like to recommend school recognition program for the first time. We can go on record, I'm fine with recommending it.
That's great.
That's it.
It's been moved and proper second that we approve H10. Are there any questions? Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. Ms. Bullard.
This evidently was last month's board meeting? With the job description came through? All right, so I guess I don't know what it is, so I guess.
This is part of the nuclear academy bill that was approved through the legislature. Directly funded, two sources. One, the legislature approved, which is a third of it. The other is a direct appropriations from the governor, which is the other third. And the last third is from Entergy. And it is a opportunity for us to add a position that every single Ford community has, that we've been doing through the collective bargaining of all of our efforts. And Lucy's been at the head of a lot of that effort. And this gives us a business liaison. So it is covered through that allocation. And what he will do, if approved, we will have the opportunity to begin to fine-tune our efforts to apprenticeships and internships and externships, and go out to business. We'll have somebody that's had a foot in both areas.
So this isn't a teaching position?
It is not a teaching position. This is a professional business/education entity that begins to meld, and as I described it, it's a conflux of everything that we've been doing to make community and business talk to education in a way that's meaningful.
But just for the nuclear?
No, this is for,
Oh, no.
this is for the entire, all the way across.
All the academies.
All the academies. This is the in-between that really makes our two worlds mesh. And Akron, Ohio has a beautiful alignment with them, and we've actually, Lucy and I were there not too terribly long ago, where we got to talk to them about how they're utilizing theirs. Gave us some great ideas about how we could engage the chamber in a different way, and the United Way, and all the other opportunities for us.
But
It
this
really
is
gives
one
us-
position servicing all academies.
That's correct. Both high schools and all academies, and the Academy Foundation,
River City College.
River City Early College, and the Keystone classes. So, this gives us an opportunity to start plugging our community in at a higher level than we've been able to in the past, just due to limitations in those administrative opportunities. First year, this is the only position with some additional funds. They're coming second year, the same allocation will be providing us with 2 additional academy coaches and some resources for our new facilities. So we're kind of excited about that. The nuclear side at Entergy, they have a counterpart. His name is Alexander. He came a couple board meetings ago to introduce him to you. So they're equal in nature, and Entergy is very excited about adding additional business partners to this whole collaborative so that we can continue to produce this.
And this position I saw on here also is a grant writer, and
Yes.
so they'll work with Lucy on that kind of thing.
Yes, and the person we made the recommendation for has tons of experience in that.
I make a motion that we accept the liaison coordinator position.
Second.
Been moved and properly second that we approve H12. Are there any questions? Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. I1, Ms. Bullock, you have everything else tonight.
I just have a question. I see the license status. I see that we have 2 pending, and on the other ones that we have, that means that they are not independent mode. Are they certified on that? Or have they already done it? Here on the.
Dr. Little?
Is she leaving?
Generally in the pendings, and this is generally, and if we want to talk individually about anybody, we can put them in executive, but pendings are usually people that are graduating in December.
Okay.
Sir?
Along those lines, I think, and this may be a misread, but all the end dates reflect 2019. Isn't that supposed to be 2020? And that's on both
Yes.
the attachments, so that will need
That needs to
to
be
be.
adjusted.
When you make the motion, just make the motion that all of those that show
20
an
end
ending
dates.
date of 19, that be revised to 2020.
You can't go back in time, can we?
Go
I don't
back.
think so.
Sometimes
Last
we
time I
could. Yeah.
And Okay, on that one, and on the bottom on our separation, the resigns that we have, are they, moving, just not want to teach anymore?
We do exit interviews with each, so they have the opportunity to give us that information. If you know anybody individually, I can get it to you.
Well, that'll be, I'll talk to you.
Okay.
Okay,
I know the last one is moving.
Okay.
okay.
Mississippi, but I don't know if he
Yeah, I always get hung up about what I can and can't say.
Right. That's being all, else I'd like to, make the correction on the 2019-2020, right?
Yes.
On that, and, the other part, I understand, so I have to.
I get you in, right.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we accept I-1.
There is a motion to approve I-1 with the necessary corrections. Are there any other questions? Are you ready to vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. Well, we're down
Okay.
to K, 16th section.
Ms. Bird, back on?
16th section.
Or is that
I
you?
think that's me.
I was gonna say, it's
Yeah.
normally one of
Yeah.
y'all.
Well, we've got, I guess we'll start with the ag bids.
God bless you.
We advertised for 2 agricultural bids, both of which are in the Bovina area, and
Got an opener down there?
I do, I can find it. First bid on section 16-5 east, 16 township north, 16, range 5 east, section 16 is in the amount of $400. The bid is made by Mark J. Cheney, and I have certified funds for $40. That bid appears to be in order. And let me check before y'all approve that. And the remaining part of the same section, one of them is the pasture land, consisting of, I'm trying to give you an idea of where they are. It looks like 3.67 acres on the first one, along with about 10.7 acres. So you're looking at, roughly 14 acres. That was the first one. The second bid is approximately 20 acres, and the bid is $567. There are certified funds in the amount of $56.70. That bid is also made by Mark J. Cheney. So both bids appear to be in order.
And that's the same as it was the
Well, no.
previous.
No, you said
leases.
1616.5 was $400.
Right. They're-
And on the report, it's 1616.5 was 567.
That's the one, 16, I think that must be a typo on your report. It
Okay.
says 1614.5.
1614.5.
So they're just backwards, but they're the same.
They're not, I
They're
think
the
that's
same
just a
section.
typo on your
Oh, I see.
computer.
Okay.
So they're both 1616.5.
Yeah, but they're on
Okay.
different sides,
Gotcha.
or they're right, you know where this is, right off near the golf course.
Yep.
So I think it's the same property that Cheney's been leasing for a long time.
He's the only bid.
He's the only bidder on both tracks.
I make a motion that we accept Mark Cheney's bids on 1616.5, both sections of it.
Second.
The moving properly. Second, that we approve, Mr. Cheney's bid. Are you ready to vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved.
Second.
Covered.
You're on,
Okay.
K2.
School approved.
Yeah, well,
She's
hang
still got two
hang
things
on.
on it.
Oh, you still on
Still got
16?
Still got
Still
some more,
two
yeah.
things on
I'm trying to rush this.
I'll make it quick. You also have, in that same section, you've got a proposal from the Corps of Engineers at the Big Black River test site. Y'all know that they've got a site out there on the Big Black River, and that the property that you have, the district has, is split between the Corps section that they use for some testing and then hunting and fishing. That's right, Mr. President, you got the diagram. Y'all should have it on your computers, but anyway, there's a creek that runs down, more of a drainage ditch that comes off of Bovina Cutoff. It runs east-west, it cuts down to the south, and at one point it turns. There's been some washout there. We've had that problem before. The Corps does not lease the land next to that, but they're interested in getting that repaired because eventually it may erode into their part that they lease. They have requested the right to go on that property, to survey it, to inspect it, analyze it over up to a 3-year period to see if they can eventually take some remedial action to make sure it's repaired, which I think we would all be in favor of. The only issue is we're going to have to notify the existing hunting and fishing lessee that they're going to be there. And hopefully they're not going to have a problem, because if it washes out, they're not going to be able to get to their hunting and fishing track. So I don't think it's going to be a big deal, but y'all got the document. I see one change. They've got Warren County School Board. That needs to be changed to Vicksburg Warren School Board. And I would, if you decide to approve it, my recommendation would be that we approve it subject to satisfactory arrangements being made with the existing hunting and fishing lessee to allow them to get out there and do their testing. Any questions on that?
No, do you have any questions? Is there a,
I make a motion that we approve the Corps of Engineers to go on and survey and make decisions, but with the recommendation that they have to contact the leasee and also to change the wording to be Vicksburg Warren School District.
Second.
Is that right?
That is right, except for I think we better contact the lessee rather than them.
Okay.
We'll end up all working together, but
Then we'll do
we'll
follow-up
address
on
it
it.
first. Okay, that's it.
there's a motion and a second to approve the Big Black test site, section 16, property. Are you ready to vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. Yes, sir, Mr. Attorney.
That's it.
That's it?
16 seconds.
I make a motion that we go into, we got school.
You got school. They were not
We'll have 5 principals or their representatives come before you to give a brief update of progress toward their goal. Basically, their first benchmark, so that they're going to update you on the data. Ms. Williams had an emergency and couldn't be here, so you can definitely read her report at your convenience. So I'm going to ask Mr. Green to come up first, please.
And Mr. Green,
Hey, Coach.
before you start, would you let the audience know about your last that you had? We talked about that your school has been awarded, to be in the running for.
Oh, sure. So for the last 2 years, our Acme Academy students have entered the Ford NGL, Ford Next Generation Learning Academy Showcase, which is a national showcase for project-based learning. And so last year, we kind of made it, if you were doing like a bracket through there, we kind of made it to the quarterfinals. This year we have already made it to the semifinals, and so we're progressing up, and so there's some next steps in that, but it's pretty cool, something that our kids work on, have been working on since the beginning of the school year, and this year their project is based around the recent flooding in the north part of the county, and the project gives some alternatives to what to do about the flooding, and so through that, part of the process is they have appealed to local legislators and our gubernatorial candidates that were in the race this year. So it's been pretty cool to see some of that come together. And so we'll know more about that in the coming weeks and months if we get to advance to the finals.
You also went to a national academy. Oh, yeah. Cut that off, yeah. also got to travel to a National Academy Conference and took over one of the sessions because everybody turned around and said, "Now, what are y'all doing?"
That's right.
So
That's right.
it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, so looking at our monthly update at Warren Central this year, we are again in the additional targeted support category for our students receiving special education services. You see there our overall goals for the year, and then as Dr. McGee said, the data here is from our first benchmarks that were given several weeks ago. A note there, you see there's a discrepancy between the math and the reading. We only have about 10% of our students that will be testing in the fall, their state tests. And that's why that number is so low. So you do a handful of students out of the 350 that will be testing. And so that number's not quite as high. We do have several that are testing there with math, and you see our numbers. On our first benchmarks, even at proficiency, we look like that we're already meeting our proficiency goals and science goals as well. This year they've...
Remind me again, the percentage, is that a yearly number? So
Yes, that's a yearly number. So looking at
the goal's a yearly number.
Correct. So looking at the...
We've just about met it, or have
Correct.
met for math and...
Yes, sir.
and science.
Yes, sir. So we'll know more.
Instruction to go.
That's right. We still got a lot of instruction, but we'll have second benchmark results at the upcoming board meeting in December. You see they changed our format a little bit there. We've got some more information. School enrollment, our ADA for the first few months of school, students that have chronic absences, teacher attendance rates, number of discipline referrals. Again, there our allotment of money is there as well from what we have been awarded. A couple of things of note, that allotment this year, we've been able to hire 2 instructional specialists that we've never had at Warren Central, so we have an ELA and a math specialist. And something that has been very beneficial that they've been doing this fall is those instructional specialists have been going into the classrooms to do small group instruction with our special education inclusion teachers and the general ed teacher in the classroom. And so trying to support those babies with IEPs as best as we can with 3 teachers in the classroom at one time, and we've had some good results off of that so far.
The chronic absences, why, is there a reason why that's going on?
So the way that works is a child that has 2 or more absences within that month. So that could be the same 10% that is right there. But last year, if you look at the report that came out, that is actually drastically down from where it was last year.
As a matter of fact, we presented it, Jim was there, we presented it at MDE. They commended us in the amount of chronic absenteeism we had. She said, "I'm rarely impressed, but y'all just keep doing what you're doing." So she's really encouraged by the amount.
Yeah, because like two years ago, we were something at like 30%.
Yes,
and so that 10%, even though...
Well, imagine now, during these months, you get checked out to go deer hunting, and you miss that 63%, then you will be counted absent. It's very important that our kids be in school and not, do that. Because, even if you go to the orthodontist, let's schedule those for after school. Because chronic absenteeism doesn't care whether it's
excused or unexcused, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, right.
It's just an absence.
Just got to be there. We're working hard.
Yep. Any questions?
Thank you.
I didn't mean to call it deer hunters out. I know we got duck hunters too.
Okay, good evening. I'm Tanya Stewart McGee, representing Warren Central Intermediate. If you look at our school's overall goal, if you add up all the accountability blocks, our goal is set to score 356, which is a C. If you look at our first benchmark, if you add up all those accountability blocks, they added up to a 260, which is 9 points from a D, which is also 96 points away from our goal. So I'd like to commend our teachers for working very hard first 9 weeks, and we plan to continue on that uphill journey. So I'd like to give them a hand. Describe the school's progress toward plan implementation. That's on the second page. We are in the process of implementing a systematic approach to small group instruction. The approach consists of 3 Ps: preparation, planning, and plan. This will help teachers organize toward leading and facilitating effective small groups. So I'll be able to report how that's going next month. School enrollment, the student ADA, I did not fill out the chronic absenteeism, but I will have that next month. Teacher attendance rate, the number of discipline referrals. Currently,
Oh, go ahead.
Currently, we have spent $53,257, and how we're addressing our subgroups. We are conducting integrity checks, and we're revisiting our students with IEP schedules, making sure that they spend more time in the in general ed, making sure they have, make sure they're getting that general ed. I just lost my train of thought. Making sure they're getting the general ed teacher instruction. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
Special note on our ADA, we've set the goal that all schools have 95% attendance, and she has been over every single month. So 98, 97, 96, which is 97% attendance.
One thing I can say about my students, they come to school. And if they don't come to school, I stop and ask them, why were you not here? And so they know that they will be questioned about that. So.
Ms. McGee, I'd like to commend you too. She has a team.
Oh, yes.
That anytime she shows up, they show up. And they're awesome. And they really do a good job with the kids.
Yes, I do have an awesome team, so let me name them. Assistant Principal Lakeisha Beatty, my interventionist Jasmine Sanders, and my lead teacher Tamara Herron. They are excellent. And we work as a team. It takes a team.
It does.
It takes a team. It's just not me. So next month I might have a team here. You're welcome.
Can I ask you one question?
Yes.
What's going on with the teacher attendance rate?
And I'm glad you asked that question. Because I told my teachers when I showed them this report, I thought it was going to be Mr. Sturgis asking me this question, but it's Mr. Shelton. I really don't have an answer, but most of our teachers are sick. They come, I really don't have an answer for that, but we're trying to encourage them to come to school, because if they miss, that means the students miss. So that's one thing we will have to address.
Do you have any vacancies in those particular pregnancies? Long-term medical? These are just sick and attendance?
No.
Sick.
We'll run the whole thing on that. We'll get a five answer on that.
So I might be off plus or minus, but I looked at it twice. Some teachers, sinus infections, baby sick.
But we can pull that from,
Well, Ms. McGee, I must admit, instead of asking you, I did ask somebody else.
I knew you were gonna ask. And I told my teachers, I said, I'm gonna be asked about that. So we're gonna have to do a little bit better job of coming to work.
You're off tonight too, right?
I am.
I failed to mention your name. I didn't see you sitting over there, and I apologize.
I accept your apology.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm glad you asked that question. And we on TV.
we have to TV.
Any more questions?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Becky Trey, weekly teacher at Vicksburg Junior High. Vicksburg Junior High has been identified as an ATSI school. And so because of this, I'm sharing our monthly updates with you. We have our first benchmark assessment data. It's not where we want it to be as far as the goals that we set. For our reading proficiency, our goal was 31. We're looking at 9 as of right now. Math was 30. We're only at 14, so we still have a lot of work to do there. However, we have exceeded our goal for science, which was 26, and for our first benchmark assessment, we were at 28. We will be taking our second benchmark assessment in December, so we're looking to see some big improvements there. School enrollment has dropped from 516 students to 498, and that includes both our students who are located on our campus and at AOI. The student ADA has dropped slightly from 94% to 93.72%. Our chronic absences have had a huge improvement. We went from 29% to down to 10%, which Mr. Hughes, I think the incentives that he has in place for our children has made that difference this month. Our teacher attendance rate looks terrible at 84.6%, but I can tell you that 15 out of those 44 absences were two teachers, and that was due to one teacher being out 2 weeks with medical issues and one teacher being out an entire week also with medical issues. Our budget, our remaining balance is $39,638.82. The majority of our money that we have spent so far has been to do with student improvement as far as technology and using our ready materials. And I know that we are planning on focusing more with spending some money to improve our family engagement. Sorry? Well, with our subgroup, they receive an extra 60 minutes of direct instruction every other day. And we were fortunate enough to use some of our money so that those classes where those students are located have 3 adults in the room. They have a certified teacher, a TA, and an inclusion or SPED teacher at all times in those core subject areas.
I'll make a statement if I may. I
Yes,
think
sir.
Once you get your reading to where you want it, the science looks really well, but I think it'll take the other 2 to where you want them to go.
Yes, sir.
Because reading leads to everything like a paved road. And
We've talked a lot about that with the math. It's not necessarily that we don't have those math skills, but it's breaking apart the question and me being able to read the question to even know what they're asking me to do.
reading and comprehension is a beautiful thing.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Chairman, do you have anything you need to say?
No, sir. I work hands up with these principals in these schools, and the data that we have here is when the students first entered. This is our first round of data results. We're getting ready to go into round 2. Round 2 won't close until January 17th. Ms. Sheila and I just talked about this today. I stand firm that we're going to continue to see all of our schools improve, and I know that we're going to meet that mark. So I'm ready. They're ready, we're ready, we're getting ready to get it. This is the year.
If the state doesn't change the goalposts.
Well, that's happening.
They already started.
That's happening. I ain't worried about that. We can't even, we just gotta keep going. Can't even worry about it.
Do we have any questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Marlena Bowles, Assistant Principal at Warren Central Junior High. Right now, we are proud to say that we are on target to meet our goal in ELA, math, and science. We are an ATSI for subgroups, students with disabilities and African American students. And what we have done with our students with disabilities, all of them have a learning strategies class, and they get additional support in both math and ELA, and they have an online program that they use. With our African American males, we make sure that everyone has a mentor. They have to check in, we check behavior. Our bottom 25% and bubble students, they also get additional support in reading and math. Our ADA, we have implemented incentives for perfect attendance, and they now seem to be working. In fact, the students get something tomorrow, so there will be some that are upset because they did not have perfect attendance in October. Our chronic absence is what we've started doing. If we notice that they're out for 2 days, or sometimes it's even a student that is usually there all the time, we're calling. We call home. We're on school staffs. We're trying to get in touch because we want to know where our babies are. And for the teacher attendance rate, we have 3-4 teachers FMLA right now, 2 long-term subs, but we also have incentives in place for teachers with perfect attendance. Name goes in the bowl, your name gets pulled out, you get something very special. So we're working on it.
Do you have a reason for why the discipline referrals doubled between September and October?
If you look at it, that's also when our teacher attendance rate was the lowest. So subs, write-ups.
So on your benchmark assessments, the 37 that's on the left side and the 12 on the right side, is that number, those, should 12 be closer to 37 or?
If you look at 12% for the first benchmark and we've added in our additional support, we're predicting that our second benchmark is going to be higher in proficiency. We do have curriculum specialists that are now going into classrooms and also meeting with teachers at least once a week to make sure that we're on target and along the same lines with instruction inside of the classroom.
Have any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Chairman, we don't have no PDs for this type of information we get now.
You talking about interpretation of data? For y'all? I can make that happen. Come on up and tell us what the heck's going on at Vicksburg High School. Good gracious.
Good evening, my name is Tamika Davis. I am the principal of Vicksburg High School. I'll start with our overall school goals. For reading, our goal is to have 21% of our students proficient, 87% growth of all, and 50% growth of our bottom 25%. As of right now, according to our first benchmark assessment, we have exceeded our goal already. We have 53.3% of our students proficient in reading. 90% have growth for all. And our goal was to grow 50% of our bottom 25%. However, our first benchmark indicates that we have grown 100% of those students.
That's great.
So all that banging around's not bothering you, kid?
Not at all. Our math goal for the year, we want 19% of our students to be proficient in math, 80% growth of all, and 75% growth of the bottom 25. For math, as of right now, our first benchmark assessment, 13.3% of our students are proficient in mathematics, 57% growth of all, and 100% of our bottom 25% grew.
That's great.
Science, our goal is to have 28% of our students proficient. According to our first benchmark, we have 12.9% proficient at this time. School enrollment, as of right now, for September and October, we have roughly 825 students. Our student ADA was at 98% for September and 97% for October. So we have been above 95% for 2 months straight. Percentage of students with 2 or more absences, August 12%, September we only had 6%, and October we only had 2%.
You going to these people's homes?
Yes, I do home visits.
Say it out loud.
I do home visits. Teacher attendance rate, these are the number of days. So for August, 103 absences for teachers, 115 for September, and 133 for October. Number of discipline referrals for August, 77, September, 119, and October, 163. You notice that when we have teachers out, we have more discipline. It is a ripple effect. Our remaining balance for school improvement funding is $90,422.14. With that money, I hired an academic coach She assists with ELA. Her name is Miranda Kincaid. For our subgroups, the students who have been identified, they receive additional small group instruction during the last 20 minutes of each block in English 2, Biology 1, Algebra 1, and U.S. History. In these groups, students are provided additional instruction on power standards for each subject. The students are also given strategies to assist them in dissecting test items. Any questions?
Only one question.
Yes, sir.
Your attendance rate absences, that's not a percentage?
No, that's the number of days.
Okay, but how does that, okay, calculate? Okay. Thank you both.
Any other questions? All right, you're welcome.
Can we have information on teacher absences across the district percentage? Sure. I'd like that information.
You want it as a total or by school?
By school.
School?
Perfect. You want me to pull out FMLA issues and?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
'cause those, I mean, you get somebody correct.
No. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, it's nature.
I did. Just saying.
Yeah, National Choir will start to.
They make your numbers look bad, but they can't help it.
You didn't hear it. You don't even know what he said.
What did I say?
I get somebody correct.
Yeah, that's not happening.
With that,
I make them.
Yeah, that's right.
we need to make a motion to get out of here.
You didn't say it just like that. I make a motion, I make a motion to accept the, school's progress report.
Second.
Or whatever it's called.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, okay, thank you. It's been
Coach,
moved
got it.
and probably second that we accept the school's, monthly update report to approve it, I'm sorry. Are they-
Actually, that's an accept. That was
That's an accept,
yeah.
okay, thank you. To accept the school update, are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion, so carries.
I make a motion, we go into closed session to set the agenda for executive session.
Second.
We move to private second, we out of here, thank you. Meeting's over.